Hi guys, it is Lori B from Grungy Girl Journals. How is everybody today? I had intended to do these videos yesterday. Actually, I've been trying to film for a couple of days, and the Florida weather has been a little crazy. It's about 8:20 in the morning right now, so I tried to get in here as early as I could, even though I got up at 4, um, thinking about it. But I had to wait until, of course, the sun came out. So I've been trying to do this for a couple of days, and I've got some sunshine outside, and hopefully that won't turn too quickly. We lost our power a lot yesterday, and I didn't want to do these videos only to lose them. Um, so I hopefully will be able to get through them today. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the encouragement and the kind words that you have given me with the pictures on Facebook from this particular journal. It's been a joy to make. I started it back in May, I believe, and I was just looking it up. This is a Facebook post, and June 5th, I had just did the mermaid and printed her out and, cut her. And also, I stacked several pieces of cardstock on top of each other. So it's about probably an 1/8 inch thick, this oval. I did I don't think I had glued the bubbles on yet. And as you're going to see the bubbles, because there was some product underneath, such as Tim Holtz distress sprays, things like that, it reacts to water. So, of course, glue has water in it. And once I glued those on and it started to dry, they weren't clear anymore. But I wasn't upset about it. I like it. They're more pink, like a peachy pink. And I was okay with that. And they're supposed to represent water because she's sitting on the beach. And they're just fun. And they were a new toy to play with, so I wanted to put those on there. I did this is a distressed, and I did so many things on that. I couldn't really even tell you. It's a piece of book board, and I distressed it, and I used the rock hard candy Tim Holtz distress paste and all those good things on there. And I did it, I probably did that in April. So it was ready to go when I started on this book. I did some layering with different papers, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how I constructed this book because I got a frog in my throat today. Because I experimented, and I can tell you that there's a piece of cardstock, or probably several pieces of cardstock glued together to make it a little more sturdy, in between two pieces of fabric. And this is the fabric that I used for the base, and it is so pretty. And originally, I did not want to cover up this fabric or cover it up as little as possible, but it's kind of evolved that way, so you can't really see that much of this. And I'm definitely going to be doing another journal. I got plenty of it at a ridiculous price. This is what's left of this beautiful tapestry, chenille tapestry that I used here and on the back. And I wanted to point something out to you with this once I turn it over. So here's the front. And I love this image of the mermaid. And there's a man right there. See him? He's standing there and he's looking out towards her, and he kind of looks like I imagined him to be a gentleman caller. Um, he comes to visit her probably every day, in my imagination anyway. I surrounded the oval with a piece of paper and scrunched it up. And also I did some gilding with gold around the edge of this. So I don't know if you can see, that's several pieces stacked together, kind of to raise that up a little bit. I hand dyed some ribbon with Tim Holtz Distress. I believe that's weathered wood. It's a blue, real pretty blue color. So I like I said, it just kind of evolved. I used the tapestry on the four corners. I did end up putting some more upholstery fabric to kind of make a ruffle around the edge of the front. This is a piece of hand-dyed lace underneath here, which I stitched on, and hand-dyed tassels, vintage tassels. And I also did some knotting, and I call it doodle stitching because I really don't know what I'm doing. I kind of know what I'm doing, but you know, it's questionable if I'm doing it correctly. I do know that I like the way it turns out, and I use waxed thread, waxed linen thread or waxed polyester thread, and I get that on eBay. And these are like a steel blue gray, probably more on the gray side, but because you put it next to blue, it kind of skews towards the blue side even more. There is that. And there's the spine that everybody loves. And this was really fun to do. I was trying to just come up with a way to cover the spine. I didn't want to glue anything on the spine. I didn't want to put lace or anything like that. So I was really trying to come up with something. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And literally all it is strips of cotton, 100% cotton fabric. Excuse me, guys. I wasn't this way before I started filming. Little pieces of cotton fabric that I frayed, and then I literally tied into bow knots. And I'm going to do another little process video on that. It's very simple. You're not gonna believe how simple it is. But it makes a big impact, I think. And you can do part of it, the spine, or you can do all of it. I just like the whole spine done. And the back, love this. There's that tapestry, and I used every bit of it I had except for a couple of small pieces like this. And that is sewn on, it's glued on and it's sewn on as well. And I did the knots around it as well. And I wanted to give one of my tips that I was going to show you today is when I was trying to fit this piece of fabric, this tapestry, onto the book, the problem that I ran into that I didn't like was once I frayed the edges, two of the edges, you know, fray beautifully. They look like this. And then you have the other two edges that I call it the underthread. So in this case, it's brown, you know, it's dull, it's not very interesting. And I would have had two pieces, that two sides that were this brown, and then I would have had two pieces that were the one I wanted. So what I ended up doing was on the sides here, I cut, and that would have been where the brown showed. And you can see it. You can see where I've cut it off here. And also I put a little glue in the back so that it would not fray anymore. Once I did that, I took my remnants that I had left, and no matter what size they were, I just used this end, frayed it up, cut a strip out of it, and then I placed it up underneath so that, here's a little piece. I placed it up underneath, say this is the edge of the book, like this, and not the edge of the book, the edge of the fabric, like that. And I did that all around the two sides that had the brown thread. And what that ended up doing was giving me a uniform, more uniform piece of fabric. And honestly, you can't even tell that it's been done. And I glued it down, and then I did some stitching, some doodle stitching around here as well. So I'm really happy with the way that came out. And this is gorgeous fabric. I wish I could find more of it. But this is one that I got off of a YouTube seller, and have no clue who makes it or anything like that. This book is about 10 and a quarter by 11 and a quarter. So it is a good size book. I made this tassel with the same bow technique, and I think I use the same fabric as the spine as well. I hand dyed these bows, and I think I'm going to work on them a little more because they're a little more green. When it was drying, it looked blue, but when it got bone dry, it's more of a greeny gray. So I might just play with that a little bit with some dyes and see if I can get it more to a blue color. And when I let it dry, I hung it up like this so that all of the stain would run down and kind of do an ombre a little bit on these strips because I wanted it to look old. So I thought that turned out really cute. And that just clips on and off. And this is the part, the inside is the part of the journal that I'm most curious to see what everybody thinks of. It was planned from the beginning. I wanted to use the inside. I wanted to use the fabric that I used on the inside. I love this fabric. I got it on eBay. It was really pricey. I could only get 2 yards of it, and I have had it for maybe a year and a half because I love it so much. But it's, I don't think all people are going to like it. But I wanted this book to be eclectic, and I wanted there to be surprises, like, oh, look at that. That's different. So I picked this fabric out at the very beginning on purpose because I knew I was going to use it no matter what. And I hope you all like it. I guess you'll either love it or you'll hate it. Here it is. And I'm just crazy about it. I got to move Louie. Say hi to Louie. I miss you. So this is a chenille upholstery, and it's rare. I can't find anymore, and the seller also said it was rare. And it's soft, and as you can see, it's a tiger print. No tigers were harmed in the making of this journal. I wouldn't dare. But it's a beautiful bronzy color, and I wish you could see it in person. It's very texturized and feels so good, and it looks so good, and I didn't even want to put anything on top of it. I didn't want to put any pockets or anything. You get the whole thing right here, the whole thing. And this is even one full piece of fabric. I did not cut it. Boy, that was a lot of work. I sewed the signatures directly onto the piece of fabric, which had to be cut pretty much perfectly. And then once the signatures were sewed in, I glued it as one piece on the book cover. And I was so anxious about it because I'd already finished the front. There was pretty much no going back I used Fabrifix or Fabri-Tac. There's just no going back. You do all that work, and it gets a little dicey when you get to that point. But I knew that's what I wanted it to look like, and it just came out so perfectly. And it lays nicely, and it's flat, and it just does it for me. And I hope you like it too. So you'd think that I would have gone with a mermaid theme with this because there's a mermaid on the outside, but I tried. At first, it was just going to be a writing journal. I was going to have blank pages. And I thought, I don't know what to do about that. Maybe some people won't like that. So I tried to make it a mermaid sea life type journal. But as you can see, these aren't mermaidy sea life, really beach colors. And so anything that I had or anything that I could find was in that seafoam green, all the pretty, and it just didn't go. And no matter how I tried, I could not make this into a sea life journal. I tried just shells. I tried so many things, and I just kept going back to something more simple, something that wasn't a junk journal, that it was a writing journal. I do like, and I hope that my journals are written in, because I imagine in my head just writing everywhere. You can even write on images. You can start it here or start it here and put quotes, or I just imagine them just full of words and thoughts. And that's why I called this Stay Thoughtful, that you can write all your thoughts in here, and it sends a message too, just stay thoughtful with yourself and to others. So what I ended up doing was using flower plates. And these are vintage images that I got from Raw Pixel. And I'll have that in the description box below. I know this looks crooked, but it's not. It's just the way it's laying. These are images from Raw Pixel, and I love flowers, and I imagine the gentleman on the front bringing her flowers every day. So I decided to use these flower plates, which are gorgeous, and I highly recommend Raw Pixel. It's a website. You can have a membership, but you can also get free downloads on it from, oh gosh, they got a zillion things on there. So I highly recommend it. Everything that I print off of there is free, and it is copyright free. So I have tea stained. I tea stained just about everything. I think the only thing I did not tea stain for this book is this material. I didn't want to do it. But this is a full sheet of paper. I think I cut it down a little bit, but it's a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I just made the folio from 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 and used mostly masking tape, and I also used some paper tape from Tim Holtz, some white that I received, that I had purchased, that I really like, and I'm going to get some more because it does a really great job connecting 2 pieces of paper together for the middle, and it makes it sturdier. So I really like it. And like I said, this is a writing journal. This particular page, there's, I believe, 6 of these pages in the book, And I thought it'd just be nice to put appointments. There's a front and a back. So, you know, there's 6 of them. So you could have this, you could use this for 6 months or even a year if you used both the front and the back for a month. But there's plenty of writing space. I use different types of paper. This is just tea stained, and I was dyeing some laces with that blue color, and they were flowers. And as I dipped them, I just laid them down on a piece of paper to dry. So that's how I got that. A lot of these are hand dyed. I think all of them are hand dyed. This has a blue tint to it. And as you can see, I used seam binding ribbon instead of wax linen thread. This is the first time I had done this, so I had to make my holes a little bigger, and I used my what do you call it, the chomper, the you know what I'm talking about, the hole puncher with the big thing. I used that to make my holes, so they're a little bigger than but it turned out really well, and I wanted to keep the bows in there. So they are, I think I put a little dot of glue so that those would not come undone. And there's some grid paper. I put some doilies, laid some doilies down on that. So this is just a repeat. There's another one of those book plates. I used some of, I believe this is Roxy Creations. She has beautiful old book pages in her. These are digitals, but they are absolutely gorgeous. And I just did a front and a back. I'm just going to flip through real quick. Just different types of pages, papers. There are 7 signatures, I think, in here. And you can do what you want with it. You can add whatever you want with it. It's yours for the creating. Does have a middle pocket. And this digital I found on Etsy, and the name of the digital was something like Mermaid, the Mermaid Tale, or the Tale of the Mermaids, or something like that. And it's in a different language. Don't know a whole lot about it, can't read it, but it's beautiful. I used heavy cardstock with this and distressed it, and it's the front and the back, and that's just a pocket. Put one of my cards in there and signed it. And I wanted to use a lot of blue because the outside is blue and water blue. So I used a lot of that distress ink in the weathered wood. And that's the regular stain, not the oxide. That's about it. Here's a butterfly This is a vintage image that I got off of Raw Pixel, really pretty blues. And that's it. So this will be for sale, or it is for sale. I have had a couple of people interested in it, but you never know. If I don't get any response from the YouTube video, I'll go ahead and put it in my Etsy shop. It will be a few dollars less expensive if I don't list it because of the Etsy fees. So if anybody wants to contact me, please do so through Facebook Messenger, or you can leave a comment below. It probably would be better to leave me a Facebook Messenger message if you are interested. And like I said, I do have a couple of ladies that are interested, and I will be contacting them about it. But until then, here it is. And I will be doing a short video of the process that I used for doing the spine. And I'm going to be doing that next. It's probably going to be a short one because there's really just nothing to it. So I'll be doing that next. And if you could leave me a comment below and just tell me how you like this journal, and what you think about the size. I wasn't sure about the size. Tell me if you think I should have made it more of a junk journal, or do you think that it looks more like a writing journal? I think it does. And I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe. I love new friends. I am on Facebook under Grungy Girl Journals, Lori B. I'll have that all down below in the description box. You can't really see any of the digitals that I use. These are basically just scraps of paper. So I'll put the link where I got her on Etsy. She is a digital from Etsy. And I guess that's about it. I appreciate you watching. I hope you watched the whole thing. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.